You cannot manifest a life that you want by simply thinking positive. You cannot think your way into a new reality. If you've been doing all the things, you've been scripting, you've been mirror working, you've been journaling, you've been doing the 369 method, and you start to see little shifts internally, but then you reset back to your default life and your life really hasn't changed. I want to let you know it's not your fault. This video is for you. I'm going to be breaking down exactly why, despite the fact that you are consciously making changes and you actually see results, you feel a shift after you utilize all the 50 million manifestation tools that are out there, but then you go back to your default setting. Because if your subconscious, the one who is actually running the show, doesn't agree with the new affirmation of I'm amazing, I'm rich, my business is successful, it doesn't matter. You are trying to install new software on an old program, aka your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is running the show, and it is a thing that was formed before you even knew how to spell your name. In this video, I'm going to break down why this is happening and how you can get into the programming that has been there for the majority of your life and reprogram it to be able to become the version of yourself who already is, has, and does everything you desire. When I started doing this work over 10 years ago, I did not realize that over 95% of my thoughts were subconscious thoughts, and they weren't even mine to begin with. They were passed down from friends, from family members, from schools, from society, ideas, thoughts, and beliefs that I took on and made my own. And those thoughts, they are running in the background every single day. We are thinking millions of thoughts, and 95% of those are coming from your subconscious mind, meaning they are on autopilot. These are not conscious thoughts, and thereby the beliefs that you hold about yourself, about the world around you, about me as you're watching this video. Can you imagine that only 5% of your day is consciously thought out? So what's happening 95% of the time? The story of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, it's not safe for me to take up space, it's not safe for me to be seen, it's not safe for me to feel joy and success is running your life. And until you get in there, until you rewire that old programming, your life will never surpass the old programming. And this is where most people get stuck when they want to create quantum leaps, when they want to completely change their lives, when they want to manifest their wildest dreams. Your conscious mind is where the vision lives, where the strategies, the tools, when you're sitting there creating your vision board. But your subconscious mind, that's your identity. It's the default setting. It's the pattern you always end up back at, no matter how many more New Year's resolutions or vision boards that you create. Most people, when they go to try to manifest, they're manifesting from an old self. You are trying to install new beliefs, new ways of being from an old identity that cannot come with you where you are going. So no matter how many years I woke up trying to tell myself I'm beautiful, I'm successful, I'm rich, my internal world was screaming that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, someone else has already done it better. And here's the thing, your body, not that cute affirmation you say to yourself in the mirror, is the one that is going to win. Okay, so let's break this down in a way that can actually make sense. Until you were about 7 years old, your brain is in a theta state. This is that dreamy state that kids exist in where they believe everything that they see as reality. Santa Claus is absolutely real. They repeat everything that you say, and they basically soak up the world like a sponge. We all were primarily in theta state until about 7 years old. That's when our subconscious gets formed, and along with it comes the belief that I'm not good enough. I need to be quiet to fit in. It's not okay for me to speak up and ask for what I want. I need to overwork to prove my value and get love and acceptance. No one needed to sit you down and actually say this to you. They might have, but a lot of us just absorbed it from watching the world around us while our brain was primarily in theta state in those early childhood years. So if you saw your mom working really hard and that was the way that she operated in this world, you by default are going to expect that that's just normal. If you got praise for being quiet or being calm or being a little bit more introverted, now that is the way that you believe that you get love. If on the other end of the spectrum, you actually were told off or potentially even abused for speaking up, for taking up space, for being excited, you could now learn that that is not safe, that is not okay. And so even if no one ever actually said those words to you, that now becomes your internal operating system, aka your subconscious mind, aka the 95% of thoughts that you're thinking every single day. So now as an adult, you're trying to manifest with your conscious mind. You've got got your big vision, you know exactly what you want, but your subconscious is screaming all the things that it learned from those early years that are the exact opposite of what you're trying to convince yourself about yourself. And guess who's going to win every single time? Your subconscious. It's essentially like you're pressing the gas with your affirmations, your vision boards, your scripting, but your subconscious is slamming on the brakes and saying, absolutely not, ma'am. Now, there are many ways to actually get into that subconscious and reprogram. And I recently started using a tool who's the sponsor of today's video, the Align protocol. Your subconscious is primarily open during those slower brainwave states, and the Align protocol allows us to tap into those states and do just that so that we can get in that old program and actually shift the belief that is running in the background of your life. The Align protocol uses theta binaural tones to open up your subconscious mind, and then subliminal affirmations to reprogram the subconscious thoughts, beliefs, and identity that are currently holding you back. The best part is you really don't have to do anything. You can just stick on your headphones, sit back, relax, and let the binaural tones as well as the affirmations do the work. Subliminal affirmations, if you've never heard of them, are really low and soft affirmations that are meant to bypass your conscious mind that would say, no, that's not true, and go directly to the subconscious, the old programming. So instead of you consciously saying, I'm abundant, I'm wealthy, I'm so successful in my work, in my business, and your subconscious screaming, no, you can actually get in there by slowing down the brain waves, entering into theta state, and layering in those affirmations to a place where your subconscious can actually accept them. They have bundles on everything from abundance to sleep to love to confidence. And it is so helpful because they break it down into 3 different offerings where you're able to tap into each bundle. You can do a focus session. This allows you to listen to it in the background while you're doing other things, as well as a relax session. This is the best way to get into that theta brainwave state right before you're going to sleep where your brain is calmest. Or you can do a guided hypnosis. If you really want to go deep into deep transformation, it's a great way to tap into it. I've been listening to the Attract Abundance bundle this past week, and let me tell you, I'm not going to call it a coincidence, but I'm having the best week of my business this year. For just $20 a month, you get access to all of their new bundles, and they add more every single week. It is really an incredible tool to get into that subconscious programming that is ultimately running in the background of every thought that we're thinking and all of the things that you desire to manifest. So again, it's not enough to just consciously know what you want. You've got to get in there and make sure that the internal you, the subconscious brain, the thoughts, the patterns, the beliefs, the old habits that are keeping you in your current reality are able to shift as well. And Align Protocol is a great tool to be able to do just that. If you want to try it out, you can click the link below in the video description. Okay, so now let's talk about how you can start getting into those subconscious thought patterns today and really be able to start to bring those 95% of thoughts, beliefs, and patterns that you're probably unaware of right now to your conscious awareness and shift them in a way that feels empowering and is in alignment with the life, the version of you who's already on the other side of everything you can desire. As I always say, awareness is the very first step. And I understand that you can't actually catch every single one of your thoughts, but here's the thing. You also can't change a pattern that you can't even name because it's running silently in the background. And so we have to start to shine a spotlight on what is the old programming, what is the old identity, beliefs, thoughts that are running the show of your life right now. Some simple ways to do this is notice how your body reacts in certain situations. Do you ever notice when people give you a compliment, if you shrink or feel the need to immediately deflect because you're so uncomfortable? Or when you get a great idea and you're like, wow, this would be amazing. But then the second thought is, who do I think I am to pull that off? Or if you're a business owner and you go to raise your prices and you feel that tightness in your chest or that lump in your throat or that block in your stomach. All of that is your old programming, your subconscious thoughts, beliefs, and identity raising their hand to say, hey, no, you're trying to consciously make a change that we, your subconscious, are not in alignment with. That is your old programming. And so for the next few days, I want you to pause and check in those moments where you're in a group and you have an idea that you want to share, but then you almost swallow it back because you're worried about not sounding smart enough. And I want you to pause, check in and say, wait a minute, what did I want to do in this moment? What did I actually actually do and what stopped me from following my initial desire. We're not doing this to judge ourselves, but it starts to notice there are patterns that are running in the background of your life every single day. Even as you're listening to this video right now, you are listening through the lens, the filter of your subconscious thoughts, beliefs, and identity. Then we've got to create safety, because here's the thing. If internally your body, your internal system, your subconscious actually believes, no, it is absolutely dangerous to speak up. It is dangerous to take up space. It is dangerous to go and raise your prices. It doesn't matter how many affirmations you layer on if you haven't created that internal safety. Sometimes just before I'm about to record a YouTube video, if I feel any anxiety that maybe I don't have the right thought or the right topic, or I'm not sure if my words are going to come out clearly, I will put my hand on my heart, close my eyes, check in with my body, calm down the racing heartbeat or the sweaty palms or all the things that are happening, and just simply say to myself, I am safe here. I am safe. Because here's the thing, your internal system that is in that fight or flight mode, when you go to step out of your old way of being, your old identity, your old habits, your old patterns, is screaming, no, danger, almost to the extent that it feels like life or death, even if there is actually no inherent danger of your life. You can know that logically, but it doesn't matter if internally the alarm bells are going off. And so simply even taking just 10 seconds to check in with yourself, acknowledge the fight or flight that's happening, and say, hey, I hear you. I see you. I know this is uncomfortable because this is something we've never done before, but we are safe and we will be okay despite whatever outcome comes our way. For a lot of us, it is simply fear of rejection, fear of not looking smart, fear of looking dumb, fear of being judged, and ultimately just not receiving the love that we all desire. Human beings simply want to be seen, heard, and loved. That is our core desire. And so when anything gives us a fear or thought that we're not going to get that, our inherent pattern is to say, no, I am not okay. I am not safe. But is that actually true? Because when you can create safety within, no matter what happens outside of yourself, you will be rooted, you will be anchored. And then we want to layer in repetition, but you want to layer in repetition when you're in the state to actually receive it. If you are trying to affirm your way out while you're in the middle of a complete crash out and stress moment, it's just not going to work. You are trying to scream and throw in affirmations to a closed shut door. As I shared before, your subconscious is most receptive while it is in theta state, not beta. We want to use tools like the Align protocol to be able to get yourself into that theta state and layer in the repetition of what is it that you desire to feel, believe, experience internally first before you try to then consciously go and take actions aligned with that new belief system, identity, thoughts, and patterns. So when you want to use any tool like scripting or mirror work or affirmations, you want to do it at a time where you are in a calm state. Maybe it's after a breath work. Maybe it's after listening to the Align protocol hypnosis session. You want to make sure that you're in a state where your subconscious is actually ready and primed to receive that information and not reject it and say, no, we have all this evidence of why what you're trying to tell me is not true. And then last but not least, embodiment. Your subconscious believes what it sees repeated, not just what you think. It believes action, not simple theory. So if you say, I'm confident, and you're telling yourself that in the mirror every day or in your journal, but then every time a new opportunity comes your way, you shrink or you avoid, you are essentially telling yourself, hey, I don't really believe what I'm saying. So embodiment is asking yourself, if I was already this person, if I already had this life, if I already was in the vision that I see in my wildest dreams, what is one small action I would take today? Maybe the embodied you posts the video without editing it to death, or sends the email, or says no finally. Or maybe it's been time to raise your price or go to bed on time, because the version of you who is living her dream life knows that rest and self-care is far more important than trying to outwork whoever to prove her worth. Here's the thing to know. When you first start to do this, it will feel uncomfortable because you have a default setting that has been running in the background for however many years. And when you go to break out of that and actually take actions aligned with the version of yourself that you're listening to in your affirmations, it can feel uncomfortable, which is why it's so important to go back to that safety moment, to remind yourself that I am safe, not because of what is or isn't going to happen externally, but because of what you're curating internally. You've got to start paying more attention to creating your inner world than allowing the outer world to dictate it for you. And then every aligned action starts to become a receipt. You start to build that evidence bank so that your subconscious starts to know, oh, this is just who we are now. So what is uncomfortable on day one when you go live with no script, or you make an investment in your business because you know it's going to be a success, despite the internal fears and doubts that have come with you from the old identity. Your subconscious starts to see you taking those actions, and now it becomes easy. You start to build the muscle where it no longer is in fight or flight. We're not going to make it. We're not safe. This is so scary. It's just, this is who we are now. The old identity almost starts to feel like a costume, and the new identity, the version of you who's already showing up as that embodied self, becomes your home. Once I finally got that my subconscious, not just my conscious thoughts, was the one that was running my life changed in the best way possible. I started to stop outsourcing my power to what was happening externally and started to spend more time curating what was happening internally. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about aligning who I say I desire to be with who I think I am inside. If you've been on my channel for a while, then you know that this is the core of my work: identity-driven transformation, changing the story about who you are so that your external reality cannot help but catch up. This is the work that we do every single month inside of my community, The Shift, where I host group coaching calls every single month. We host connection calls. I do deep dive trainings on everything from money mindset, EFT tapping, mirror work, scripting, subconscious reprogramming, identity work. It is the best place to be in community and not have to do this work alone. Click the link in my bio to save $10 off your first month. I would love nothing more than to see you inside. And if you want to go full on, if you're ready for 2026 to be the year that you become completely unrecognizable, I want to invite you to join me inside of Inner Circle. This is just a snippet of some of the wins that this group that I'm currently doing this 90-day sprint with have been having in the last 6 weeks alone. When I tell you that we all have shifted internally and externally in the best way possible, it is incredible what happens when you lock in. This is my most intimate container where you get 2 hours of coaching calls with me every single week. We're in a daily group text chat. I share all of my innermost thoughts, dialogue, resources to help you sprint into the version of you already on the other side. We're going to kick this off January 2026, where we are going to lock in for 3 months and decide who we are becoming. We're not creating goals. We are making Delulu decisions and locking in the best way possible. If you're ready to up level every single area of your life, if you're ready to go deep with me and breath work, neurolinguistic programming, all of the tools that have transformed my life over the last 10 years and have allowed me to support over 1,000 clients around the world, I would love to see you inside of Inner Circle. Click the link below to apply and feel free to email me if you have any questions. I look forward to seeing your comments, your shares, what you took away from this video, and I cannot wait to see you on the next one.